And having said that, it allows us to get into companies at an early stage without deploying $20 million per deal. And I think that's really important because if you look at clean tech generally speaking, you have, over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen massive amounts of money getting raised, and most of that money has been deployed into infrastructure. And infrastructure costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time to deploy and to actually see or reap the rewards of infrastructure investments. So we have generally looked at industries and markets that are just maybe a little bit complex and a little bit confusing at first, but by using technology, you can create real efficiency and therefore can really impact the environment today. And that can be done without deploying a lot of money. So that's our premise. A couple of other companies in this market, one is called CyberRain. It's a smart sprinkler control unit that essentially downloads the weather information, precipitation, humidity, temperature, and so forth from the internet and controls your sprinkler system. So most people that install this unit save 30 to 70% of their water bill every single month. And people like saving money right now. Not that I want to pitch this company, but that's really one of the things that we're looking at these days. People try to figure out how to do things themselves and how to save money and do well at the very same time. Another company is called Used Cardboard Boxes. We've been in that deal for a few years, and one of our most recent investments is called Lucky Earth. They have a really great product. It's basically a waterless car wash that you can use, spray on, use a microfiber towel, clean your car. It'll look better than going through a car wash, and you don't use any water whatsoever. It's a great product. I even think they sell it here, so go get a bottle.
Great. Thanks, Andy. So just let's take a breath here and let's sort of like gather what we've just heard. We know that the economy's suffering. We know that oil at $48 or $50 a barrel doesn't really play all that well to competitive strategies. It creates a longer ROI, return on investment, and therefore, as Andy said, it's going to take longer for new entrepreneurs to really propose a business opportunity that gets their money back. So you have to take a little bit of a longer view as we sort of work through this. And so really, and at the same time, angel investors like myself are really looking for nascent companies that have great management, a little bit of traction business-wise, a great business plan, so that we can invest in early-stage companies that show promise, so that eventually we can turn it over to Andy and Brett to and whatnot to sort of finance. So I think really what I'm hearing here from the board is that while the economic climate is challenging, I think that the opportunity is still there, the long-term views there, even the medium-term view, I think, with regard to what Sandra was saying, whereby there are still infrastructure demands. The Obama administration is really going to be supporting and stimulating green initiatives, where he expects to hopefully generate millions of jobs through this sector and be a net exporter of this sector. So while the near-term challenges are great, and while the length of time it takes to really get these businesses, these green businesses, into operating cash flow, that there's really an opportunity that we can't lose sight of. And with that in mind, I want to ask some specific questions to some panelists. Andy, what do you see as being the opportunities, the greatest opportunities and the greatest challenges with LA-based green companies and initiatives? Do you see any sort of differential there? Well,
I think the greatest challenge and the greatest opportunity may almost be the same thing in a way. We're sitting in a city here where we have more small businesses than in any other city in the country. So we're so diverse. We have an amazing base of eco-entrepreneurs, and I don't know what the study was, but we're within, I think we're the top 4 city for green businesses, at least as that was estimated by some magazine. I don't remember which one. So anyhow, the opportunity is that people care. And ultimately, there's a lot of passion in this town. The problem is there's no money, and there really isn't. Our firm's been around for 8 years, but if you really look at all the firms in this city, you can count them on 2 hands, really. And specifically, if you count the ones that invest in this space. So the problems for our companies, typically, the problem is that once they get financed, they need to raise another round. And to raise another round, there needs to be another VC, because we can't fund these companies forever because we're not sitting on endless resources. So if you can't find that money locally, then you got to get out of town. And if you got to go to Sand Hill Road, or if you got to go to Boston or somewhere else, that can get tricky. You may not have your Rolodexes, your Rolodex may not be as extensive in these areas. It may be more difficult to get introductions. So if your home base is LA, it can just be a real challenge. So what I would love to see is for more capital to come to this city, for more conscious capital, for more patient capital, capital that can continue to fund businesses over 4, 5, 6, 7 years, as long as it takes to bring them to liquidity. And that's also the opportunity for investors. I mean, if we were sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of our own capital, I would be funding all of our companies from round A to round D. But right now, it just doesn't work that way.
Right. Ken, I have a question for you. What investment criteria do you really look for? When one of these entrepreneurs comes to you and presents a plan, what is the litmus test? What is the sort of the gating item by which you look for, and what can you recommend to them as they build their business, so that they're most poised and prepared to present and get your ear when they present to you and your company?
So I think maybe a different way of saying what I tried to say earlier is that most investors aren't looking to invest in businesses because they are green or because they're in a particular segment. They're looking to fund great companies. So the fact that you are passionate about a particular sector and you believe in this and you believe that you're going to change the world is more icing on the cake. But first of all, you've got to persuade an investor that you have a fundamentally great investment opportunity. And that comes down to the things I was saying earlier and Andy was saying earlier. I mean, we're going to look now harder than ever at the people involved and their ability to execute in this tough environment. We're going to look at your ability to defend your market, against competition. What makes you better? What makes you able to carve out and defend a position? Is it because you have proprietary technology, or is it just because you're there first? And we're going to look at how big the opportunity is, and most importantly, we're going to look at your ability to achieve enough with the capital that you raise in this round to get to a place where somebody's going to finance you to take you further. Because people like me, who are individual angel investors, we're not investing millions of dollars. We're investing tens of thousands of dollars, and so we don't have the ability to make payroll for you or to carry you to the next level. We have to be confident that the amount of money that is invested now is going to take you to that next stage.
I appreciate it. Sandra, you clearly have a great working knowledge of what's going on in the sort of the macroeconomic trends. Also locally, you're really well placed here. What do you see as being the needs locally here in the LA region for clean tech, and what sort of businesses would you ideally like to see come down your pike, as they say, that you think would be appropriate for LA to benefit LA in its challenges in this space? And then take it from there, if that's too sort of narrow for you.
Well, I think some of those aspects have been addressed. Maybe I can, if there are. I think first and foremost, LA is a huge. I agree with Andy. It's a big problem that there is not a lot of capital here, and people, run to San Francisco and run to New York. So I do think that is one shortcoming of Los Angeles. But, this is a huge city. It's got, I believe our DWP is the largest municipality in the country. And so I think that it's a great place to grow a company. It's a great place there's so much commerce here, and there's so many people that it's a great place to start a business, test a product. I think that there's also, I don't know. I think we actually invest all around the world, so I don't want to come off as a Los Angeles expert. I think Andy probably could speak better to that than I can. But